Hi, this is Michelle from Bluegrass Farms Boutique, and in this video I am going to show you how to apply a vinyl decal to a flip-flop. Before you begin, I actually recommend using the Equate brand nail polish remover to remove the logo from the flip-flop itself. I just use a paper towel and rub it on the logo. And quite honestly, I would say that this is probably the most time-consuming part of the entire process. You should have received instructions in your packet that I sent you with the actual decals. The decal will look like this. It actually has 3 layers. The top layer is called the transfer tape. The bottom layer is the backing, and then in between is the actual vinyl adhesive decal itself. Before you remove that, I recommend using a rubber scraper like this. There's also some smaller ones that you can get at any regular craft store. You can also use a credit card, but if you're doing a lot of these, I really recommend you investing in these. They're only a couple of dollars. They're a little bit thicker and they'll make the process a lot easier for you. But all I do is I take the scraper and I rub it over the top of the transfer tape. This kind of helps adhere the decal onto the backing. And then in the corner, I'm actually removing the paper backing from the top layer. Now this one is going rather well for me, but there might be times where the decal wants to stay on to the backing itself. If you find that happening, just lay the decal back down on your table, press back over it very carefully with your scraper, and then repeat the process again. Okay, so you just pull this apart. I always like having, one finger on the transfer tape and the other finger on the paper backing. Go slowly, just in case. Okay, so there's what I was talking about earlier, where the decal wants to stick to the transfer tape. So I'm just going to go back over it, get it down a little bit more, and then I'm putting my finger right at the edge, and I'm putting this finger right where the decal is, and I'm pressing, right? And then I'm removing the decal. You can tell I'm going a little bit slower here. I've got everything kind of balanced. And then I just discard the paper backing. Then I always try to have a marking point. In this specific instance, I used the M in Bridesmaid against the edge right here. And so I'm going to line it up that way as well. I'm going to try to put the M in a very similar spot, and then I'm just going to press down with my fingers to adhere it. Pick back up your paper scraper, scrape it down really hard. Putting these decals on rubber is a lot different than putting it on maybe a journal or a water bottle, because rubber is much different than glass or acrylic. So I rub that in, and then up at the corner again, I'm going to try to remove it. Can you see how this is still adhered to the transfer tape? That's not good. It needs to adhere to the rubber. So I'm going to go back down and I'm going to scrape it again. And now I'm going to use my finger again to balance it. This is holding down the decal, and I'm actually removing at an angle. Okay, see, that was the dot of the I. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my finger down there, And I'm going to go very, very slow. This is why you want to go at an angle, so when you have letters like D's or B's or R's, you can still be able to use your fingers, your thumb, to guide the placement. So I'm going very, very, very slow. I'm almost done. Can you see that angle there? Okay, and now I'm already seeing this D down here. So before I go further, see what I did? I used my index finger and I pressed it down with my thumb. I pressed the decal back onto the flip-flop, keeping it there. And I'm going to continue until the paper backing is off. Okay, so now I've got that done. I'm going to use my finger to press down. But again, as I mentioned earlier, because this is rubber, it's a little bit different. We're going to need to heat set this. And the way that I do that is I actually use a hair dryer. I'm going to turn it on. Okay, it doesn't want to go on right now. There we go. And this I'm going to do with both of these because I have not heat set this one yet either. But I'm just going to turn it on. Well, mine I'm going to use high. But the heat is not very, it's not real hot. It's not on the highest setting. But I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to pick up the flip-flop, and I'm going to leave about 6 inches. And I'm just going to go back and forth, and that kind of melts the adhesive onto the flip-flop. And at the same time, I'm going to use my thumb, and I'm going to press. Now you can't put the heat too close to the vinyl or it will actually burn. And you can tell when everything is done when you can start seeing the little ridges from the flip-flop come up through the vinyl. So hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can see the difference between the two. You've got these little ridges that are starting to come through the vinyl. It's getting heat set on there, which is a little bit different than this. You can't see them as well, if that helps. So that's the process. I'll go ahead and I'll do this to this flip-flop, and then these will be good to go. They are waterproof, so you know you can wear them in the ocean, in the lake, whatever. But I do recommend that they dry completely, and you should be, you know, careful with them because, you know, it is vinyl and they're not permanently set on. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email and I'll be more than happy to help you out. If you like what you see and you want to visit my shop, feel free to go to bluegrassfarmsboutique.com. Thank you.